What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United. Oakland Latinos Unidos, the voice of the Latino community in the Bay Area, California, and beyond. Well, I'm back on here with a new video for you to enjoy. And the video I'm about to make today, I was inspired from another guy that I've been watching his videos. He's another Chicano YouTuber called Chicano Experience, spelled with an X, Chicano with an X, Experience with an X. He makes good videos. He makes a lot of videos about Chicanismo and about being prideful of being a Chicano. And he made a video called, he made a few actually, called like Top 10 Chicano Rappers of All Time. He inspired me to want to make one. And I decided to make one called the Top 10 Influential Chicano Rappers of My Time, who influenced me and maybe influenced you. Most of them are going to be old school rappers that I remember growing up. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. So these are the 10 most influential Chicano rappers in my lifetime. So number one has to be Kid Frost. Kid Frost, who's originally from East Los Angeles, is an old school rapper, one of the oldest Chicano rappers, who's been rapping since probably the early 80s. That's a picture of him with Ice Cube. You know, I first heard of him back in like 89, 90 with the song La Raza. And you know, later on in the mid 90s, he made the song East Side Rendezvous and Mi Familia, and those songs were so sick. I used to bump those songs like crazy. I used to just be knocking them left and right in my old school back in the days, cruising around Oakland. But yeah, you know, Kid Frost, you know, he started out in the early 80s rapping, actually battle rapping against Ice-T. He also worked with Dr. Dre and DJ Yella early on in his career. And, you know, he's always been kind of labeled as a Sureño rapper. But, you know, I don't remember him ever really rapping about Sur or Norte or none of that. He rapped about gang stuff and about the streets. But, you know, he's worked with rappers from Northern California like the Funky Ask Tex, you know, Baby Bash, and Too Deep, you know, Junebug Slim, Don Cisco, who's from San Francisco, and a few others. So, you know, he rapped with a lot of people from Northern California. I don't think he had a problem with anybody. I think he was, just a rapper who made music, and he's old school, you know what I mean? And he is one of the first Chicano rappers to really put it down. We got to give him credit, give credit where it's due. But yeah, number one on my list would be Kid Frost for sure, because that man, he opened doors for a lot of Chicano rappers out there. And yeah, he put it down for La Raza big time. The next one on my list is definitely this man. This is like the king of Northern California, man. It's when it comes to rap. I don't care what anybody says. This dude right here was the most influential rapper in my life. Not just him, but his whole group, the Darkroom Familia. So that would go to David Rocha, Sir Dino, and his crew, the Darkroom Familia. The first time I'd ever heard of him was back in like 93, 92. I believe this was the first cassette I ever had of him. It was called R.I.P. to the Barrio. And it had a song called Kick It Like a Vato. I remember that song. And after that, not too long after that, I bought Temporary Insanity, which was Duke Crooked and D-Roll's group. They were from Hayward in Oakland. And basically, that's the group that became the Darkroom Familia. The Darkroom Familia and Sir Dino were just this big crew of rappers from the Bay Area, Northern California, and the Central Valley. There was rappers from Oakland, Hayward, San Francisco, Mr. Key, those of you who remember him. Lowdown from Merced, Pollo Loco from Merced, DJ MT from Tracy. You know, you had a lot of rappers on that crew. You know, Duke and Crooked from Hayward, D-Roll from Oakland. So you had a lot of rappers from the Bay Area and the Central Valley, and Sir Dino was from Tracy. And Sir Dino, to me, was just a very influential rapper. He rapped about politics, he rapped about the streets, he rapped about Chicanismo. Before he really became known as a norteño rapper or a gangbang rapper, he was rapping about Chicanismo, about politics. You know, some of his songs like I Want to Kill a Pig and another song called New Revolution, you know, are very radical songs. And unfortunately, you know, he got caught up in the gang stuff, the GUN. Later on in his career, the GUN stuff, they got him caught up and got him sent to jail. He started becoming known as a norteño rapper, and you know that, you know, later on he basically got out of jail and became a preacher in Modesto. But you know, a lot of people talk shit about him now, saying he's a sellout, that he's a dropout, and he's a this and that. But whatever you want to say about the man, Sir Dino is one of the fucking, you know, guys who opened doors for a lot of Chicanos in the Bay Area and Northern California. He is one of the first Chicano rappers out here to really put it down and have a big impact. You know, I think his impact is still felt to this day. Sir Dino and the Darkroom Familia. They there was a very strong familiarity with their rap. If you were from the Bay or if you were from the Central Valley, you just could relate to it. They talked in your language. They talked like you. They used the same slang you used. And it was just reality. You know what I mean? And I have to say that, yeah, Sir Dino and the Darkroom Familia were very influential to me growing up. And, yeah, they go on my number 2. So my number 3 will go to the Funky Ask Tex. Yes, they were a rap group from Vallejo, California. I believe they also had roots in Oakland, some of them. But, yeah, Vallejo, California. They made several albums. Their first album was Chicano Blues, which came out in 1991 or 92. And I remember the cover of that album was this right here. It was basically Norte and Sur shaking hands, getting together. And, their early stuff was really, about the Brown Berets. They were rapping about unity between Norteños and Sureños. They were rapping about Chicanismo. But at the same time, they were rapping about the streets and the harsh realities of growing up in the hood. I remember the members were Sapo, Merciless, and Indio. And I think they had a few other rappers. Like I said, they were from Vallejo. They did a lot of collaborations with Too Deep, with Baby Bash, and with a few other rappers out there. And, yeah, I would have to say that they for sure, the Funky Aztecs make it on my number 3 on the list because they put it down. They were some of the Bay Area pioneers of Chicano rap, and yeah, they for sure opened doors for a lot of people as well. And yeah, they go on my number 3, and yeah, the Funky Aztecs, I still bump their music to this day, so for sure. So my number 4 will go to this man right here, ALT. Many of you might remember him, another Latin time bomb. He first came out like around 91. He came out with the album Another Latin Time Bomb with Tequila, and also he did another song called Summer Breeze and a couple other songs. This was part of his second album, Stone Cold World, which I think was one of his best albums personally. I used to have this. This came out like in 93, something like that, and I used to steadily knock this album. I used to bump it all the time. I remember there was a song called These Nuts. It used to be pretty tight. And yeah, he's from Los Angeles, from Southern California. I believe he's like Mexican and French, I believe. And yeah, he was a very influential rapper. He was around a lot during the 90s, especially the early and mid 90s. He was on a lot of stuff. He came out with a lot of albums. He rapped on a lot of people's albums with Kid Frost and with a lot of other rappers. He even did a song with the Funky Aztecs, a song called Much Love. So yeah, I would have to say ALT is another influential rapper of my time who, I think never got his credit that he should have, but he was a sick-ass rapper. He was dope, you know what I mean? So this goes to my number 5. So the number 5 on my list is Lighter Shade of Brown. Lighter Shade of Brown was a rap group by ODM and DTX. Unfortunately, DTX passed away last year. But yeah, Lighter Shade of Brown was a rap group that was around and doing big things in the early 90s and mid 90s. They did the song Latin Active. They did the song, On a Sunday Afternoon. Who doesn't remember that song? And yeah, they were very influential. They used to get a lot of radio play. I remember the song My Homies, Spill the Wine. I used to steadily bump their music back in the days. And, I think they were from Riverside, California, Southern California. And yeah, they were a pretty tight rap group. They were cool. I liked their music, and I still listen to some of their stuff even to this day. And yeah, they would have to be on the number 5 list of my most influential rappers, of all time, of Chicano rappers of my time. My number 6 would go to this rap group. They were called Proper Dos. Proper Dos is a rap group. I think it was Frank V and Ernie G, I believe, was the name of the other guy. They came out sometime around 91, 92. They came out with this album, Mexican Power. And some people have told me that they were Sureños, that they were gangbangers. But, their early stuff, I don't remember it being too much about gangbanging. There were some songs where they rapped about gangs, but they didn't really get into it about they're Sureños that fuck Northern California, nothing like that. They made a song called Mexican Power, which I remember was a very dope song. I remember I used to listen to that song all the time. Mexican Power, with the Juicy Fruit beat. And the one-way beat, no, not Juicy Fruit, it was one-way, Cutie Pie beat, Cutie Pie. So yeah, it had that beat, Mexican Power. So yeah, that, and then they had another popular song that used to get come on videos all the time. It was called Firme Jaina. So yeah, Proper Dos is the number 6 on my list. Number 7 will go to Iceland Nation. Iceland Nation was a rap group from Berkeley, California, from the Bay Area, and they came out around 88, 89, and they came out with their first album in 93, I believe, Win or Go Home. And they were very political. They were very, like, big time Chicano power, you know, very Chicano nationalistic rap group. It was the first time I'd ever heard anything like this. Iceland Nation, like I said, was from the Bay Area. They were around for a few years, and then they just kind of slowly faded. But I would have to say, at least for me, they were very influential. Their song, Born to Be the Bad Guy, and Land of the Serpent and Eagle were the shit. So, you know, that has to be, like I said, that's the number 7 on my list. So my number 8 goes to the Mexicans. The Mexicans, which was a rap group from Long Beach, California. They came out in the early 90s, and they were a pretty cool group. I had this album, Zigzag, and I had their second album. And I remember their song, Funky Melodia. There was another song. I forget the name of the other songs, but I remember almost all the songs. I just don't remember the names. But they were a group from Long Beach. They got a little bit of radio play, and I even remember them coming on a few times, like being interviewed on 106 KML back in the 90s. With the Mexicans, the rap group that was around for quite some time. And like always, they just slowly faded and, you know, they disappeared. And I would have to say, after that, another influential rap group, that would be my number 9, would be the Brown Skin Artists. This was a rap group from Berkeley, California, Westside Berkeley, here from the Bay Area. Growing up, you know, I used to listen to their music all the time. I used to have this on cassette. They were also on a few compilations, and they did some music with Iceland Nation as well. You know, their music was basically Bay Area Chicano rap. I could relate to it. You know, it was about the streets, about, you know, they were talking about riding in the paddy wagon. I remember there's a song called Paddy Wagon where they talk about, if I get stuck in another city, I got AC or BART. So anyone who knows the Bay Area knows that if you get stuck, you got AC Transit or BART or Muni to get you home. So yeah, the guy right here, Mr. Chuco, he's still doing music even to this day. He's a lot older now, but he still does music. This album came out like 93, 94, and yeah, it was one of the most influential rappers of my time. Actually, influential rap group of my time, even though they never got any big notoriety. You know, to me, they were influential, and they were Bay Area pioneers, for sure, in the Chicano rap game. The 10th on my list has to go to a group called Los Marihuanos. This rap group was actually from Chicago. And the reason I put them on my list was because they were the first rap group I'd ever heard of Chicanos from the Midwest actually rapping about the Midwest, rapping about the streets of Chicago, rapping about, you know, a different environment altogether. And I really liked their style. They had a really hardcore street style. And, you know, their music was a mixture of getting high, but also street and barrio stuff from Chicago. And you kind of got a sense of what Chicago rap was about. I remember the guys on there were Pony Boy, I think DJ Scribe and DJ Payback were the members of this group. And I believe they were affiliated with Quinto Sol. And, yeah, I mean, they were a Chicago rap group who never really, they were around. I remember they did some noise in the late 90s, early 2000s. I had their first album in 1998, and then I got this album. I think this one came out in 2001 or something like that, and I had a few other stuff by them. But I would have to say, for me, they were influential because they brought me into another realm of Chicanismo of the Midwest, which I wasn't familiar with, and they have their own unique style and their slang and the way they talk. You could tell that they're from Chicago, that they're like from back east, because they just have a different style to them. But yeah, Los Marihuanos go on my list as number 10. I also wanted to mention another rapper, but I don't have time. But yeah, that's the 10 most influential Chicano rappers, at least on my time, on my list, that influenced me a lot. I'll probably make another video of the 10 most underrated Chicano rappers who didn't get their credit where it was deserved. So yeah, look out for that video. I'll probably come out with that sometime soon. This is Jose with Oakland Latinos, over and out. Take care.